during your career with the Chiefs, that defensive line you guys had, early and late, you guys were stacked. When you got there, Mike Bell, talk about an underrated player, and the All-Pro Art Still. How good were those guys?
So I'm telling you, I mean, I was really fortunate. What you just talked about before in college, and then to come to this, you're only as good as the people around you. Because if the people around you aren't good and you're good, football has a way of taking you out of that, right? Because you put one guy on this guy, one guy on that guy, two guys on this guy. You know, that's when I came into the league. There was myself, Art Still, and Mike Bell, and it was what do you do? Art Still averaged 100 tackles a year. Over 100 tackles a year he averaged. Now, there's linebackers that teams promote. Oh, he had a 100 tackle season. This is a defensive end. It was amazing. Like, we come back and watch film, and we'd be on the plane coming home. I'm like, hey, how did you think you played? I don't know. I had a couple tackles. I think I had a sack, maybe two, maybe 1.5. We don't know. We go watch the film. Art Still is all over the place, everywhere. And it, when you get to play alongside of guys of that caliber, it just makes your job so much easier because the offensive line has a job to do, and there's 5 of them. Somebody's going to get singled up, okay? And whoever gets singled has to win. And we did. On a regular basis. Then it was, as Mike left and Art left, then it was Neil Smith and Derek Thomas. Are you kidding me? Yeah. So it was, I was blessed to have those kind of players around me. We had some great defenses. Some great defenses. In the Marty years, we knew exactly what we had to do, and we knew each and every play whether we won or lost. It was 2.5 yards or less per carry, or you lost. So our goals were always the same. It was under 100 yards rushing, under 200 yards passing. Combined, it's 300 yards. If the defense doesn't give up 300 yards total, you win. Well, we did win, and that formula just never transpired when we got to the playoffs. Defense was good, but you had to score points. And when we played the teams in the playoffs that could put up points, that's when we couldn't. We couldn't just run the football with Christian Okoye and Barry Word and control the clock and create turnovers and be a strong defense. You had to have more, and we didn't have that in the playoffs.
You mentioned that Derek Thomas and Neil Smith came. That was the second wave that you were part of that was so special. And Derek Thomas, NFL record, 7 sacks in a game against the Seahawks. Have you ever seen a guy in the zone like that? Well, there's some. If you go back and look at the tape, we all think that he had 5 and missed the last one because there was Neil Smith, and I think that we had 2. So we still talk about that and laugh. But yeah, so Bill Cowher was the defensive coordinator at that time, and he saw something in the Seattle line that had me line up outside of Andy Heck, Derek outside of me, and I'd crash to the guard hard. Took Andy with me. He couldn't get back in time, and the back didn't have a chance of blocking Derek Thomas. And so we put this in that week, and Cowher was just ecstatic. After the results were, we got them. They didn't change, and we got them. And that's what the NFL is. It's about understanding what teams do and finding ways to
counter it. And I actually, that's why I think Bill Belichick is so great.
And if you don't make those corrections from the previous week, you're going to get a full dose of it.
Yeah. Everybody they always say it's a copycat league. Somebody finds something and everybody tries it, right?
So also during your time at Kansas City, another defensive lineman, Pete Koch, and a lot of fans might remember him from being the Swede in Heartbreak Ridge.
Yeah.
Did you guys know he was doing this stuff?
So Pete came out same year I came out of college, 83, 84 draft, and he played for Maryland, and we played Maryland that year, and they had 3 first-round draft choices: Boomer Esiason, Ron Solt, and Pete. And Pete got drafted by Cincinnati, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out for him there. And we picked him up like the next year or 2 years, like 86, I think we picked him up. So they drafted him in 84. We picked him up in 86. And, Pete was just, he was like Bill Frelick. I mean, he looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just like buffed to no end. And so he joined us. And so when he joined us, our defense went to, we changed it to a 4-3. So there was Art, Mike, and me and Pete were inside over the guards. Pete was always Hollywood, and he loved LA. That was just in his blood. He pulled up in a Porsche, and his license plate said NFL Pro. So, I mean, that was just Pete. But we were all good friends, and we were close, and we loved what we did. And there was no doubt any of us, didn't think Pete would be in movies. That's what he did, yeah. And he was Swede in Heartbreak Ridge, and he was in a bunch of other movies too.
Yeah, I can't imagine, as big as he was back then, him sitting in a Porsche.
I know. It was like a 911.